remember there was the Alabamas back in the past or the Miamis in the past. Just this team is different and they're ready to play. And they're
Greetings and salutations, and welcome to the Odd Coaches Podcast, the authentic voice of sports leadership where coaching wisdom meets real talk. I am your host, Dr. Keith Adams, and on today's Road Down Thursday edition, CFP playoff quarterfinal previews. In segment 1, coaches that hated badly. In segment 2, very bad. And in segment 3, a special segment, recruiting in today's era. CKA is going to give you guys some advice because some of you guys are struggling with recruiting. So let's try to help you out. Joining me today, perfect time, and my captain for life is here, Will Cotton. Will, let's get started with the college football playoff quarterfinals. So on New Year's Eve, you've got Ohio State and Miami in the Cotton Bowl. What are you thinking about? Who do you have winning?
Gotta go Ohio State, man. They just look the last 2 years of just like the team that remember there was the Alabamas back in the past or the Miamis in the past. Just this team is different and they're ready to play and they're playing very well. And I know now because they lost Indiana, I know they're locked in. So Ohio State's gonna kick their butt.
Yeah, well, a couple of things about Ohio State's going to win. Okay, we put that to the side. Let's get a couple of things out of the way. One, hey, Miami, please keep Michael Irvin away from the television cameras and things like that. Don't no. Michael can't represent your university intoxicated. Don't do that. Two, Texas A&M wet the bed because Miami didn't look very good, but the ACC has some pretty significant wins over the SEC this year. I will say that. But I got Ohio State winning too. We had to get that out of the way. Michael Irvin was just a little too much for me on TV, and we need to calm that down. All right, New Year's Day, we've got a triple header. Texas Tech against Oregon. Who do you have, Will?
Texas Tech. Sorry about that.
Out of here.
Texas Tech, coach. Texas Tech. You know why? Because, coach, a long time ago, you told me in high school, you said, and I know it's applicable to basketball, but I think sometimes in football too, Pac-12.
You're still a Pac-12. You're not.
I don't care. I don't care who you are. You are Pac-12, and I just don't think they're gonna do the thing in Texas. So I give me Texas Tech, man.
Well, I think Texas Tech is going to wet the bed like Texas A&M. And for me, I'm picking Oregon strictly because of wrestling booking. Oregon's been the third best team in the Big Ten. They have been forgotten about. They're Nike, their uniforms, they're the Ducks riding out on the motorcycle, and they flexed a little bit. They didn't overflex on JMU, which I wanted to. I wanted that foot on the pedal the entire time, but I got to think they're just a little salty about being the third best team in the Big Ten. And they're in the Orange Bowl. I have to think Texas Tech is going to start looking left and looking right because they're in the Big 12. You're not going to, you're on like TNT. You're on like the other, you're not prime time. You're not bright light. You're on like ESPN2 most of the season. Now everybody's watching you. And I'm not worried about the star. I'm never worried about the star. As you know, it's that second guy. It's that third guy when we need you to produce. And you're like, wait a second. It was fun when I was talking to my girlfriend, but now I'm expected to do well. I just think Oregon's going to, just a better team. All right. And then in the middle game, you have Indiana versus Alabama in the Rose Bowl, 4 p.m. What are you thinking, Will?
Man, Indiana, man, they're just so tough. Their coach is so tough, and it's so hard to pick against Alabama. Just as growing up, things like that. It's like betting against USC, just your history. But I'm sorry, man, I gotta go with Alabama. I think Alabama, at the end of the day, their playmaking, I'm not sold on their quarterback because the Indiana has the much better quarterback, in my opinion. But I just can't go against those guys on Alabama, man. They're playing on a mission right now. They know they were lucky to be in this thing. I know their coaches is kind of hyping them up about it. Um, and then they're getting the best Alabama they're gonna get. So I think Give me Alabama in this one.
Yeah, I wish I had a better breakdown. I wish I had all the stats and the numbers, but there's only one thing I'm looking at. Historically speaking, whoever wins the Heisman stinks in the bowl game. So I'm going with Alabama strictly because Fernando Mendoza, who earned the Heisman, and bless his heart, and Diego. No, 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 Diego. Don't cut those promos. Just say it's been an honor. Eat the little chicken dinner and keep it moving. But that's it. But Kurt Signetti, I love the brashness and so forth, but Heisman winners tend not to do well in the postseason. So that's all the analysts I got. I'll be going with Alabama. Um, and finally, in the nightcap, in the Sugar Bowl, SEC matchup, Georgia against Ole Miss. What are you thinking, Will?
The heart, I want Ole Miss to win. I want Ole Miss to win because I know those kids. I know those kids are just, I wouldn't say they're upset, but they just feel betrayed, and you want to go and like if they were to go in, I'm not saying it's gonna happen. If they were to go in and win the national championship and they make sure Lane Kiffin doesn't get any sort of ring, mention, anything like that, that would be so sweet. I would love that to happen for them. Unfortunately, Georgia's gonna win that game.
I Yeah. So as long as a bus takes Georgia to the stadium and don't let anybody drive there, Georgia should win. So I'm going to go with Georgia as well. I do like chaos, but Ole Miss, I just don't think you have what it takes. Whether Lane was there or not, I wouldn't go pick Ole Miss against Georgia. I don't care. Okay, you got Lane, Dane, whoever.
Don't matter.
You're not beating Georgia right now. Georgia's on a mission. So with that, in segment two, we're going to have a conversation about two coaches and two schools in the news and just not very good behavior. We'll talk about it on the other side. We'll be right back on the Coaches Podcast. Hi, everyone. Dr. Keith Adams here. And for over 30 years, I've dedicated my life to helping student athletes succeed, not just on the fields and the courts, but in the classroom and beyond. And that's why I founded the CKA SAVE Project. The CKA SAVE Project understands that finding the balance between academics and athletics is crucial for long-term success. That's why the CKA SAVE Project offers a range of programs, including personalized consulting, mentorship, and coming in 2027, our innovative Gap Year Basketball Academy designed to assist both young men and women reach their full potential both on and off the court. I'm incredibly excited to announce that the CK Save Project is now partnering with the Cascade Sports Network. This partnership will allow us the opportunity to amplify our message and reach even more student athletes through the Odd Coaches podcast and other exciting initiatives. Join the CKA Save Project and the Cascade Sports Network as we empower the next generation of student athletes. Visit CKA on the web at www.ckasaveproject.org to learn more. Let's work together to find the balance and help unlock your potential. Welcome back to the Coaches Podcast in segment two. We've got coaches behaving badly. Last week when I had my main man, Danny Thompson, on, I told him to look up Ohio University as we were going through our bowls. And I said, the coach has disappeared, can't find him. And now we found out why he disappeared. So Ohio University fired Coach Brian Smith for cause last week, saying Smith violated his contract by engaging in serious professional misconduct and participating in activities that reflected unfavorably on the university. When you dig back a little deeper, apparently he dated co-eds and drunk on the job. That's kind of what I got from that. Will, you're my compliance guy. You're HR. What are you looking at when it comes to Ohio University and Brian Smith? How would you deal with this situation?
It's unfortunate. I mean, you gotta let him go. You gotta let him go. I mean, this guy, first of all, he's 45. He's not, he's 45 years old. You know, When are we gonna make adults accountable for things? At what age? At what age is you become an adult? And he knows he was wrong. He knows he was wrong. I don't think they said that anyway. I didn't read anywhere about that he was married or anything like that. But I mean, at the end of the day, the rules are the rules, man. Like,
No, no, that's it.
yes,
No.
follow rules, and if you can't do that, then you have to be open with yourself and say, hey, this could potential happen. Blah, blah, blah. You can't, it's delicate. You can't think that you can manage thing yourself. These organizations have support for things like that. They have, departments that you can go, hey, you can send me an email, you can stop by the office, say what you got to say. These guys want to have fun and get in trouble. It's just like it's a guys club. It's a guys club. It's not like a real business sometimes. It's unfortunate.
All right, and now let's get to Michigan. Okay. Sharon Moore is in jail or whatever he's doing. And as we try to remind the students, we're still going to move on without you. Okay. So you're not that important. You just found out a valuable lesson. All students, they continue to move on without this guy, and it has a way of taking care of itself. So Biff Pogan, former coach at St. Francis in Baltimore, former head coach at Charlotte, and now interim coach at Michigan, may end up getting the full-time job. Michigan has put themselves in a horrible position, Will, and I'd love to get your thoughts on it. So, one, academically speaking, I think they're in between presidents.
Mm.
Two, AD can't stay. I, I can't see a scenario where the AD picks the new coach. I can't see it. And then three, the guy you have there is the interim. He didn't win nothing in college. And outside of getting you a decent running back a couple of years ago, what's he done for you? So, Will, if you're Michigan, how are you handling this?
The first thing you got to do is you have to rebuild the culture. You have to. Right now, everything is just in chaos. You can't continue to move forward like this. Bring in a new AD. That guy's gonna have to have the culture and set the standard for everybody and say, you know, this is what I want to do. This is how we're going to move forward. This is how we're going to operate and build from the down and build from there. You know, Michigan, luckily for them, they have a lot of support. They have a lot of money. They have a lot of good credibility. The football name is still very good. It's not tarnished in any way. I mean, so I think they'll come back, but they really need to realign their organization, get back to football, get back to Michigan football that they were doing 2 years before. I mean, even before Harbaugh. I mean, how much, trouble or scandal was in Michigan in before Harbaugh? The more you knew them more about winning or losing against Ohio State sometimes. But you don't want to. Since Harbaugh, it's been off the field nonsense. Things coming out, this, that, da 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 da. You need to get back to football and get back to true leadership and get back to your roots because they're lost right now. They're like celebrities. You flew too high to the sun and now they're getting burned.
Yeah, so they're looking at the calendar, and we'll talk a little bit about recruiting in segment three. They might have to go into the season with an interim, and that's a lot of money at Michigan. And they got a 105,000 seat stadium, and players are already being poached left and right. So they've got some problems that have been deep rooted, it looks like. And I don't like the words investigation and we will hold people accountable. These are all bad things headed into recruiting and the transfer portal. And so good luck to you guys. And our rates are on the website if you like CKA's help. So with that, in segment three, we're going to talk about recruiting in today's era as folks are going into the portal and teams are getting ready for next year. I thought now's a really good time to have that conversation. We'll be right back on the AI Coaches Podcast.
Today's student athletes face pro-level challenges without pro-level support. The CKA SAVE Project is here to change that. For 16 plus years, Dr. Keith Adams and his team have provided comprehensive academic and athletic support from middle school through post graduation transitions. NIL guidance, transfer portal navigation, academic coaching, career planning, they've got it covered. The CKA SAVE Project. When your future is on the line, experience matters. Learn more at www.ckasaveproject.org.
Welcome back to the Coaches Podcast in segment 3. Want to have a conversation about recruiting in today's era, and just talk about a recruiting plan for coaches. And a lot of the information comes from Finding the Balance. It's an excerpt from Finding the Balance. And money or no money, team building doesn't change. And you're seeing that in the college football playoffs. So I want to talk a little bit about some common language in terms of recruiting and retention. Capacity, the maximum amount something can gain, difference makers, somebody who has an impact on winning and losing, growth, the process of developing or maturing, potential, the capacity to develop. Notice I keep talking about develop. Production is what you do now. And does what you do now result in winning? And then role players, a team athlete who plays mainly in specific situations or plays some type of significant role on the team, and that can be on or off the field. And I'm so glad to have Will here to have that conversation. So now we've got challenges as coaches, and it's one of the reasons why CKA is doing research and having conversations with coaches. Coaches in all sports and all levels experience a lot of motivational challenges, including recruiting student athletes to attend our colleges and universities, finding student athletes that can perform academically and athletically, because you'll want to have a bunch of meetings, and you're going to see more and more meetings. Building teams that can win championships. We're still trying to win. Nobody's ever said don't try to win. And assistant student athletes with graduating, something we're losing with the portal, and a running joke in our circle, and Will leads the joke is, when are you going to get a job when you're at 6 schools over 6 years? Okay. Well, CKA believes that these programs can overcome these motivational challenges, but kind of focusing on a couple of things. So no matter what your sport, hear us out. One, you have to focus on retention over recruiting. Okay. Who's coming back? If everybody's leaving, you ain't got no homecoming. And you've got to have a large percentage of your roster coming back. So those are the people who instill and install your culture. You also have to develop a systematic recruiting process to achieve better results. What are you looking for? And it's one of the things I loved about Saban is, for certain positions, he wanted a certain size, certain metric, and you can do that if that's what you want to do. I think you have to ask better questions of potential recruits, because a lot of times you've asked the wrong question, you focus on the wrong things. As soon as the kid gets there, they're ready to go. And that's poisoning your locker room. You got to ask better questions of stakeholders. As a college coach, I used to say, I got 1 scholarship, I don't have 6. So if I got to talk to 16 people to talk to you, and the 16 people I got to talk to, you can have all of that, okay? You got to be in tune with admissions. Right now, we've got a lot of schools that are not in tune with their admissions, and you're having fights where you should be allies and instead of adversaries, okay? And you can't be afraid to move on. Cannot be afraid to move on. And then people say, well, Doc, what about name, image, and likeness? It's time for colleges and universities across the country to support student athletes academically and athletically, but you also have to know where your line is. And if your line, and we got Georgia suing players going to Missouri, your lines are blurred. So you got to know what you're willing to deal with. So we recommend that you let go of the old way of thinking, as Andy Dufresne said in Shawshank, get busy living or get busy dying, and embrace this new model and find ways to keep your sanity while dealing with the new pieces of what you're doing, because government's not going to come save you. Okay. You keep waiting. We're trying to get government legislation, and Will knows the work we're doing with the Drake Group. We've been doing this 2-3 years now. Still ain't got nowhere, but you're still playing in the college football playoffs. And your system got 2 group of 5 members in, not my system. You changed the rules midstream, and look at what it got you. So we're doing as CKA, 3 research studies right now. We're doing an updated research study on student athlete motivation as an extension of my doctoral work. We're doing student athletes' thoughts on collective bargaining so we can hear their voice. And we're also, talking about coaching in this era. So we've got 3 studies going on. Can't wait to get them done. Our virtual internship program is doing that, and we're doing NIL, what we believe is the best way to do it. So, Will, as you're seeing this, as you're seeing teams still in the playoffs, you're hearing coaches talk about bowl games where I barely got enough to play the bowl game. I don't know how we're going to do. This is a mess.
Mhm.
And wait till basketball season
Oh,
in terms of the postseason. It's still going to be a mess. What are your thoughts on all of this, man?
I think it's even crazy. I think there's even a kid that was playing at Alabama, and they're in the playoffs, and he said, "No, I'm not. I'm good. I'm gonna go get ready for the draft." I think, like you said, Coach. I mean, how many things that we said? The framework would is what the football is what college football needs. They need some sort of rules and restrictions and hold on to them, and it's not necessarily to I guess it is. It's not necessarily. So it's about money as well. It's about, hey, I got Pepsi. Let's say Pepsi comes in and says, hey, I give you $5 million for this bowl game. You're like, cool. This is who's playing. Oh, we got some Heisman players, all that stuff like that. If those guys don't play, they lose eyes, which means they lose money. And not college football is not, well, I don't know what to tell you. I can't return the money back. They need a framework, coach. It needs something that everyone can be protected. The students can be protected, and a lot of it should be baked in is actually being part of a student. I mean, you can be 27. The reason that you're 27 is that's funny is because you're an undergrad and the communications, you know what I'm saying? But if you're 27 and you're, in a grad program or in a law program and, you're just doing your thing, I can support that. But the reason people, in my opinion, I think nobody wants framework or anything like that because everybody's getting rich right now. Everybody is happy making money. The coaches are making money. The schools are making money. The players are making money. And like you said, when it comes to like the small schools, we don't care. Oh well, oh well. And when you have a player that's good, guess what? We're gonna go and we're gonna snatch him up, and you have even less. So and it's just they don't care. It's the Wild West, and they're like, man, it's the ocean. The biggest shark's gonna, you know.
Yeah, the thing that hurts me the most, and you're going to hear me say this, is student athletes are exhausting eligibility, and then they have nothing left to show for it because the majority of them will not play professional. And then I have to listen to high school folks who are not understanding the changing marketplace, and they're trying to be D1, but their grades are not good enough that they can't take advantage of opportunities. And we're just trying to slow the pace down. And the clients we work with, we have a 90% college graduation rate because we're very intentional. Not a lot of people are being very intentional right now in terms of, hey, if we recruit, here's what we're doing. If we're doing this, here's what we're doing, and doing it out front. It's one of the reasons why I like Indiana. Indiana's got a bunch of 3-stars, and they coached them up. And a lot of those 3-stars came from JMU. They took them with them, but again, they brought that culture with them. So let us know. Go to our website, take a look at our service page, and if you need help, help is available to you at a reasonable cost and price. So I appreciate you being a part of this, Will. So on behalf of our Captain for Life, Will Cotton, I'm Dr. Keith Adams saying thank you for listening and or watching the iCoaches podcast, the authentic voice of sports leadership where coaching wisdom meets real talk. Also seen on the Cascade Sports Network, and we will see you on the sidelines. Until next time, take care.
We hope you enjoyed today's show. The iCoaches podcast drops new episodes every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Make sure you subscribe to the iCoaches podcast on YouTube, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Follow the iCoaches podcast on the X platform at iCoaches. Follow Dr. Keith Adams and the CKA SAVE Project on social media at CKA SAVE Project. For more information about the CKA SAVE Project, visit them on the web at www.cksaveproject.org. See you next time on the Odd Coaches Podcast.